Lots of folks, Governor, have been emailing through pamatters.com and direct emails to askthegov@radiopa.com. And we're going to just do, let's just call it a lightning round. Let's see how many we can get in for this segment.
Okay, I'll put on my lawyer hat and answer yes or no.
Outstanding. First one is from Walter in State College. He says, many states have enacted cell phone and texting laws while driving. Why hasn't PA enacted such a law? Now, there have been lots of bills floating around the Capitol. If any of them,
the short answer is I don't know why
they
haven't. They really need to.
Would you sign them?
I would absolutely sign it. You know, we're in the car quite a bit, driving around, and invariably somebody driving a left lane going slow. If we see them waving, we'll pull up beside them, and there they are, texting away.
It seems the big fight in the legislature is primary versus secondary offense.
Yes.
Does that matter to you?
No.
What about hands-free calling? Are you okay with that?
You know, if you have the earpiece in your head, I don't have a problem with that, although it is distractive. I remember when I was allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to drive anymore. But when I was driving, I had an earpiece oftentimes, and you tend to start concentrating on that, and you're not looking in the rearview mirror, and that's a big problem because I see people have no idea that there's a car right behind them, and they're not paying attention to what's on the side of them. They're just thinking about the conversation and kind of staring at the front.
You can argue a radio is distracting too. So if you
not the same, not clearly the same because you're not having a back and forth conversation.
Well, you've never seen me do my dashboard karaoke. So.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
You don't want to.
By the way, you're really not allowed to drive?
No,
really.
We did an event in Butler. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, where I got to drive a Jeep for about 2 miles.
What happens if you try?
Huh?
What happens if you?
I
try?
don't even have keys. You know, we gave up our car. We gave our car to our son, although he's going to give it back to us because he's in New York City now, and you don't want to have a car in New York City, so it's going to come to the residence. I don't even know where the car keys are.
Wow.
Let's go to Glenn. I don't have Glenn's hometown here, but he's asking, what's being done to eliminate illegal immigrants in PA? Okay, that sounds a little ominous. I don't know if eliminate is the word he means, but what?
Probably not the best choice of verbiage there.
No, there's been a lot of talk about what states can do after the Arizona law and everything.
Right, I mean, some states have passed laws that are before the courts right now, Arizona, Alabama.
Hazelton.
In fact, recently the Supreme Court sent back, I think, or the Third Circuit itself, said they're going to reconsider the Hazelton decision that they issued. Really, the state has no direct involvement in it, nor do the localities. I mean, this is a result of the federal government not doing what it needs to do on the issue of those people who are here illegally. We've recently passed some E-Verify laws where contractors have to make sure that a person is here illegally, and there's a way of doing it electronically. That's why it's called E-Verify. That's really where we are. The legislature doesn't have, to my knowledge, any bills, but there's so many bills in the legislature they may have one.
Do you think the states should be able to enact legislation if the federal government's not doing its job?
No, because it is a federal government issue as to who is coming in here. I think we need the ability to help enforce it. And, in fact, in recent years, we have gotten some of that ability. There was an act passed that allowed law enforcement officers to be authorized by the federal government to detain people and turn them over to immigration and naturalization, or whatever the new name of it is now. I can't keep up with the change of initials. That has gone into effect in some places where we've gotten those officers certified under the Act. Pennsylvania State Police are certified under the Act. But I can tell you from my days as Attorney General, there were times where we'd arrest people, they'd be deported. We'd find them back in the country in the same place in 6 weeks.
They just come right back to where they were
right
caught.
back to where they were.
Lewis in Monroeville has a question. He says, my question regards the PA Department of Homeland Security. Why does Pennsylvania have a Department of Homeland Security? Doesn't the U.S. government have that as their responsibility? Is this redundant?
Well, it's, there's a United States Department of Justice, there's a United States Treasury Department, and every state has their own. It's only redundant because the states also have a duty to protect within the state borders. And after 9/11, and as you know, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary next month, I think most of the states created a Department of Homeland Security. Ours is part of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, and works with local law enforcement, works with the joint terrorism task forces and with the federal government. It is also a place for the pass-through of federal money to Homeland Security. The money goes out to local agencies.
Is this a case where the local folks maybe can do some things better, and that's because they're here?
Well, because there are more local folks than there are
when I say
federal
local folks, I mean the state Homeland Security.
And because they're on the ground. Yes, that's right.
Okay. Bill in Tyrone says, I keep track of the press releases on the attorneygeneral.gov site and have noticed what appears to be a decline in internet predator or child exploitation press releases. Has funding been cut to this type of activity? This you really made a name for yourself as Attorney General with the internet predator crackdowns. And is he right? Has those arrests slowed?
I don't know. I haven't followed it that closely since I've now been gone for 7 months or now 8 months, and I haven't really stayed on top of that. I do know that it kind of goes in waves, and frankly, I believe a lot of people may still be doing it, but are much more cautious and a little bit harder for the agents to catch. If I recall correctly, we lost an agent for a while. We had to replace that agent over there. When you lose a really good agent, that can be hurtful. But also in the legislature's version of the budget, which is the one I eventually signed, they did cut the Attorney General's office somewhat, and I think there is somewhat of a reduction even in the child predator unit.